in South Korea 8 months ago. Ntd's Christina Kim brings us the story.
South Korea held an election on April 15th. The party of the incumbent president won an unprecedented majority in their National Assembly. Soon after, claims of fraud arose in a few key areas. Some Koreans claim bad actors played a role in rigging their election. We look at 5 ways these claims mirror alleged fraud in the U.S. general election. First, South Korea changed their election laws before the April election, citing the pandemic. Despite allegations that ballots exceeded the number of registered voters, their National Election Committee, or NEC, signed off on the results. They also said signatures could be printed on the ballots for early voters. State officials in states like Pennsylvania also changed their election laws right before November 3rd. In Wayne County, Michigan, allegations of unbalanced precincts and mismatched signatures arose, but their officials were threatened and they certified the results. Second, officials in Korea claimed voting machines were not built with Wi-Fi capabilities. During a televised audit of machines, officials claimed the empty plate proved there was no Wi-Fi. But according to technology experts, they say the plate shows bumps, which shows that the machine was built to allow Wi-Fi and it was taken off. In the U.S., Dominion Voting System CEO testified their machines had no internet connection. But witnesses came forth saying they saw a Wi-Fi signal, routers, and a former Dominion contractor said the training session mentioned modems, which allows internet connection. Third, the chain of custody is called into question in both South Korea and the U.S. Grant Newsham spoke to a podcast called China Unscripted. Newsham is a senior fellow for the think tank Center for Security Policy, where he studies Asia-Pacific defense.
You had them stored in improper boxes, like from a bakery box. You had seals that had been broken. And all of this, these citizens had uncovered evidence of it, photographic evidence as well.
In the States, for example, postal workers have been arrested for throwing out ballots before the election, and other problems were cited in the chain of custody. And fourth, the courts have been reluctant to take cases of election fraud. Since 1963, the head of the Korean National Election Committee also holds a position in the Supreme Court. In presidential elections, fraud lawsuits must be brought against the NEC chairperson, who is also a Supreme Court justice. So the justice is the one being sued and is also the one ruling the case against him or herself. Since 2017, former Korean Supreme Court Justice Kwon Soon-il has been serving as chairperson to the NEC. He only retired from the Supreme Court on September 7th, meaning he worked in both roles until 5 months after the election. In the U.S., the courts have not accepted any election law cases, rejecting them over procedural issues. And fifth, much like the American mainstream media, the Korean media has done little to report on the allegations of fraud, claiming there is no evidence. Since the public has not been allowed to meaningfully look at any election-related equipment or thorough audits, it is difficult for these claims to be fully adjudicated. Christina Kim, Ntd News.